All right. So I'm excited to introduce our very first company who gets the chance to wow you. This is always a lot of pressure because they're the first ones up, but really excited to welcome today Joanna and Brian. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi.
Thanks,
it's always
Liz.
a challenge for me to figure out how to be on the center of the screen. Okay, there you go.
I know it's a lot of adjusting, but every event planner in this room knows that right now, or in their own rooms. So thank you so much for joining us. beSpeake was a sponsor of techsytalk Global that we did in November. And I'm really interested in what you guys are doing, especially in this custom space. Everyone is asking for a custom virtual platform. What does that even mean? So I'm going to let you guys take it from here, and then I'll jump in and ask some questions. Sound okay?
Awesome, Liz.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. I'm Joanna Pineda. I'm CEO and Chief Troublemaker of a company called Matrix Group International, and our virtual meeting platform is called beSpeake. And I'm joined by Brian Clark, who's my Director of Business Development. And we're going to do something a little bit different. You know, to Liz's point, we're not going to try and talk about all the features that beSpeake has, but we're going to focus specifically on one feature that we've been able to really customize for our clients to help them create something bespoke, very custom and very intimate. So what we say at beSpeake is that really what we want to do is help organizations bring community and education back through engaging, beautiful virtual events that generate money. So it's all about really working with you over the weeks and months to create something amazing. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, so, our meeting platform, there's registration, there's live streams, there's programs, there's exhibits, there's message center. But what we want to talk about today is different types of breakout sessions, because we feel like, in any meeting, what you want to do is have a variety of learning formats and engagement opportunities so that the meeting isn't just everyone's watching something and kind of communicating through the chat. We feel that attendees, in order to have a really full meeting experience, they want to be able to find their friends. They want to be able to make new connections. They want to be on video if they choose. They want to be on audio if they choose. And really, in the end, it's got to be a mix of these different types of opportunities that make for a really full conference. Next slide. So we've got basically, we call them Speakeasy Rooms. And Speakeasy Rooms are our version of web-based virtual meeting rooms. It's not like Zoom because they're web-based. And what we're able to do with these virtual meeting rooms is really have customize them, implement them in new and different ways so that over the course of your meeting, you have a variety of learning formats. So these web-based Speakeasy Rooms that we have come in different flavors, and we'll talk about them in a second and give you examples. But the first one is called a dynamic breakout room. And the way this works is, say you've got your program and it says, hey, we use it for morning coffee or morning networking, where when you click on that morning coffee enter session, what it does is it puts you into a virtual a video meeting room with X number of random people from the conference. So it's a great way to kind of throw people into the conference and immediately have them network with each other. So a lot of our clients are using these for, again, like morning coffee, or maybe there's a networking session. Then we've got a Speakeasy Room in what's called a roundtable format. And the roundtable format is probably a lot more like Zoom, where everybody can come in. They can be on video, they can unmute themselves, chat, have a conversation, etc. Then we've got these Speakeasy Rooms that we can put into what we call presentation mode. And in presentation mode, only specific presenters can actually be on video and on audio. So that if you're expecting a large number of people, for example, you're able to really just focus on the speakers. And then finally, we also use these video rooms for private appointment scheduling that allows me to find Brian on the attendee search and actually request a meeting. So let's go to the next slide, and we'll show you how different clients have used these Speakeasy Rooms to create engagement and a different learning format for their attendees. So back in October, the European Association for International Education came to, actually, they came to us back in July, and we ended up doing their meeting in October. And what they said was, our meeting is really known for its small group discussions. They said, Joanna, how can we create education followed by small group discussions? So what we ended up doing for them is, if you see here, up here, there was a session, what's it called? I can't remember. I can't even see it at this point.
Demonstrating the impact of internationalization.
There you go.
Are we walking our talk?
So there was a session actually in StreamYard, with the speakers. There were 2 or 3 sessions in the same time block. And then in the following time block, there were breakout sessions where people who wanted to talk about the specific sessions could actually enter small video rooms and talk about the topic. So attendees, when they click the enter session button, were placed in rooms with up to, in their case, 5 other attendees. They were not moderated, and they had half an hour to really discuss the topic. So in an effort to really deepen the learning, you attended the live stream with the experts, and then you were placed into these video breakout rooms. The other thing that they used the speakeasies for were what they called the campfires. And the campfire topics were crowdsourced during the registration process. And then during the conference itself, they had time blocks where they would say, here's one of the topics that you said you wanted to talk about. When you clicked enter session, again, you were put into a room with a random number of attendees who all said they wanted to talk about that topic. If we go to the next slide. Brian, do you want to talk about this quickly, how NAS used the speakeasies?
Yeah, real quick. NAS, National Association of Episcopal Schools.
And Brian, there's 3 minutes remaining, so we got to move.
I know, I got you. Morning coffee was an important piece of their meeting in the past when it was live. It was an opportunity to sit down, talk about, discuss what you want to get out of the conference. Perhaps there was introductory questions to get people to know each other. We utilized the Speakeasy Rooms, again, in the dynamic style, but with a cap with 8 people. So it would allow 8 people to pop in, talk about what they expect of the day, honor the tradition of their particular conference. And as more people came in, more rooms were created. Again, all dynamically. Fabulous way to kind of recreate the morning coffee experience.
We got to keep moving.
And affiliate lunches. Again, opportunity for designated groups of people, whether it was high school, colleges, etc., be able to get together and have conversation over lunch.
So let's go to the next slide. I'll talk about this just because I know we're pressed for time. But if you've got a gala or a fundraiser, what we were able to do for the Food Marketing Institute is they had a big meeting, but they had X number of people who basically bought tickets to an event. They what we're able to do in our platform is do custom exports. And the way the user experience was from your schedule, you were able to go to a specific room with the other people assigned to your table, and then piped into the room was actually the gala program. So when you walked in, you saw the teaser, 15 minutes of networking, and then there was 10 minutes of program, another 10 minutes of networking, another 10 minutes of program, another 10 minutes of networking. And in that situation, we were really able to kind of replicate the experience of program networking, again, done in the Speakeasy Room. If we go to the next slide for my final slide, I just want to say, actually, let's go to the next slide. I just want to say this is what it looks like if you were to search for an attendee and then from the search results, click on the request a meeting button, if you see here on my profile, and that would take you to a screen that allows you to request a meeting. And if that person accepts, then you would be meeting in the Speakeasy Room. So you see here that we've got really different ways that we've been able to incorporate the Speakeasy Rooms for different learning formats as well as private meetings. Let's go to the next slide and we're done.
Awesome. It is really hard to stick to these times. You guys did a great job.
I think we did a decent job.
You did a very good job. As you attendees are watching, please let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any questions. I'm going to kick it off with a question or kind of a comment. I love that you guys are doing this focus on the Speakeasy Rooms and this ability to facilitate conversation. I think we're seeing, and we've been talking on the podcast every week about Clubhouse and the way that it facilitated all of your attendees to be able to kind of get up on stage. And you mentioned even whether people want to participate on video or maybe they only want to participate on audio. That's a trend that we are definitely seeing. You've already given us some really good examples of how people are using this within their events. I did mention in the beginning, though, about custom, and I know that this is something that's like a big topic and you were trying to fit it into 8 minutes. So can you just touch on the custom piece so people kind of know what I was talking about? Sure. I don't want to throw them off too much.
So the custom piece in the beSpeake platform, first of all, is every meeting looks different. So we actually assign a designer. we also find is every meeting is custom in terms of the different elements. So it's not just a, hey, here are the types of sessions that you can have. So we'll actually assign a conference manager to help you design the different learning formats. So like morning coffee, for example, came out of a conversation with a client. We did another, here's another custom element where the client said, look, in real life, there's a presenter at the back and then like table rounds. And so what we did was through a custom import with a custom schedule for each person, Liz would attend the session and then go to table one because that was her assigned discussion. Then she would attend the session, go back to table one for her assigned discussion. So what we're able to do is really customize the schedule. The third way that we can customize is through the flavors of the speakeasy rooms. And then the fourth way is in even how the speakeasy rooms looked. If you think back to the slides, we're able to customize even what the rooms look like. Some have questions along the top, some have a custom background, they have a custom logo. If something is sponsored, we're able to customize that as well.
And of course, that branding is what everyone is looking for, of course. Someone is asking about the max number of round tables per room, or max number per round table room.
So on video, we can have up to 14 people on video, but we can have up to 100 people in these speakeasy rooms. And then Brian, what's the best thing about the speakeasy rooms? We can have how many concurrent ones?
Unlimited.
Unlimited. They're literally spun up in the cloud. So we had a client that over the course of 7 days held 1,500 of these meetings.
That is insane. And they're not all one-on-one, of course. Some of these are
No. Some of them had 40 people. Some of them had 100 people in the rooms.
That is totally crazy. We are seeing a question just in general from someone who's wanting to know if this is being recorded. Absolutely, because I know you guys are going to want to go back and get all of these gems because we're moving very fast. This is really an opportunity for you to get a good idea of what the product is all about. And then please contact Joanna and Brian directly. We will be sending out an email recap, of course, with these video snippets. We're trying to make it as easy for you to digest all this information as possible. But if what you just saw was really interesting, why wait? Click and contact them right now. Another question I know we get all the time, and we don't have to be too specific because I know it changes frequently, but can you tell people a little bit about the pricing structure?
Sure.
This is something we're going to ask everyone. It doesn't have to be the exact numbers, but annual license, are we looking at per event? What do we need to know here?
So it's not an annual license. And again, remember, this is highly custom. So for organizations that are looking for something that's really bespoke, there is a setup fee. It's generally around $15K, and then there's a per person fee for the event. And then there's a small fee for figuring out what kind of authentication we're going to have. So that's your base fee. And then on top of that, there's the staffing fee. So for example, the conference manager that gets assigned to you will kind of figure out, how many you need and for how many days. We assign tech support to your event. Again, that's a kind of a per person per day rate. Because one of the things that we want to do is really open up the platform early so that people can work out their tech, and so that by the time the meeting starts, all the tech issues are resolved. And then finally, Liz, you do an amazing job of staffing your own StreamYard. But for most of our clients, it's complicated, there's transitions, there's 4 or 5 people, there's pre-recorded, there's video. So many of our clients also rely on us to provide them with the broadcast engineers to both develop the run and show and actually staff it. So those are some of the variable elements.
Yeah, I may have
if a client does multiple events with us, like we have many clients that have done multiple events with us, obviously they're going to get a discount, especially on the setup fee, because basically that almost disappears just because we're able to reuse the templates.
Right. That makes perfect sense. I do want to I posted this comment quickly earlier, but I want to and sorry, Brian, that this keeps blocking your face. Let me just remove this for a second. They love how the term Campfire is making its way into Eventprof's lexicon. I think that is something I'm hearing so many planners talking about, is just really how do we make these events more about the attendees, make that interaction more important. So I love the fact that in our limited time today, you didn't focus on the fact that you can stream or, all these features that of course you have, but really on what I think is kind of the game changer as we look to the future. We've talked a lot on this show. Joanna and I actually did a session at techsytalk Global in November, talking about live or pre-recorded and, the goal there. That stuff, I think we both agreed live is definitely the key. But then when you bring in that attendee perspective, it makes it of course, live, like there's no other way to replicate those campfire sessions or all of that intimate networking that I know is so, so, so important.
So Liz, for the EAIE meeting, just to give you a stat, we had 85% of the attendees attended a video session, but 54% joined a breakout or a campfire, which meant 54% were actually in small video rooms and interacting with other people. We also had something like almost 900 private appointments and something like 26,000 conversations. Like there were just so many ways that people could interact in the platform.
That's crazy. That's amazing. Let's see. Someone is asking about exhibit halls, sponsor booths. What are the sponsor options in the platform?
Brian, take this one.
Of course, exhibit halls, and what's actually fabulous about that is, again, very configurable from an exhibitor standpoint. We can meet your exhibitor needs, but again, we can utilize these speakeasy rooms to have not only the opportunity for exhibitors to sit in their own branded room, but what's actually way better is the opportunity to give exhibitors and sponsors the opportunity to have sessions, whether it's on the main schedule or just like on their exhibitor profile, again, that can take place in these speakeasy rooms branded for them.
And then, of course, we have beautiful exhibitor pages that they can customize with images, photos, etc., and it automatically links up the attendees from the company on the page, and you can send a message or request a meeting.
Awesome. So definitely check out beSpeake. Let me just put up their information one more time so you have the ability to write down their emails. It's nice that they give you their emails. I feel like with these virtual platforms, often you're looking for, some contact other than the form. So
Liz,
Joanna,
that's my cell phone.
That's your cell phone. Don't be giving out your cell phone number. Write it down, folks. This is only going to last so long.
Right.
Joanna and Brian, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us about beSpeake and all the things you guys are doing at Matrix Group International. We do have some additional questions coming in. I'll let you guys jump into the chat and answer anything we might have missed. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.